often as a person is talking, I always have a document up. Right? And in that document, I'm like words that people say often through conversation, like hard, or work, or try, or should, I don't know, words that are repetitive for them, right? Those words I'm going to hit almost every time we go in. We'll work around the information of the situation. But say, you know, I had one guy that everything was hard. Work was hard, relationships was hard, eating was hard, everything was hard, right? So when we would go in to these moments, right, we're also reinforcing, you know, relationships don't have to be so hard, right? We can find people that we can trust, right? We can learn to communicate in a way that we're heard and understood.
Yeah.
And we're going to do that together. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Those kind of things happen within those jumps. And, you know, we'll be hitting those things, or I'm not enough, right? A lot of people have that one. It's every jump. You are exactly who and what you need to be. You are exactly the right amount of enough for me,
Yeah.
right? I need you to be exactly the way you are, right? And if you come back with me, I would love to help you be that, right? You know, and in that space, right, not only are we working with the particular moment, before we bring them back, we're working to embed new programs every time.
Yeah.
So we're rewriting this moment with new perspective, and we're reprogramming.
That's when we do the unification vortex.
Before the vortex, right? Because we have to recognize that once fear enters a person's perspective, right, the trajectory of who we are is going to be different from that moment on, right? Because fear will enter into most choices of growth and security and creativity, right? And choice making. And anytime that happens, we're going to be a smaller version of ourselves, right? Plus the trajectory with which we make choices is usually on a spectrum. People who have had trauma. So we're working to develop a taproot that is a consistent trajectory of choice.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Right? So all these little tendrils are falling in to create one solid taproot. So again, pre-jump, we're establishing those key phrases, right, that resonate through all the layers of being, through all time, up until this moment.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And truly, we're just keeping a running document. Yeah. And anything that can fit in there, time, you know, permitting, we're layering in, right? Before they come home. Yeah, I'm not enough, I'm not smart, betrayal, cheating, love hurts, relationships are hard, I'm sick. I'm sick is a big one, right? I'm mentally ill is a big one. You know, the layers that they're attached to, right? Like there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing to fix. You're perfect in every way. Your body is healthy. Your mind is strong, right?
Absolutely.
So within this very short amount of time, right, we're rewriting time with new perspective. Yeah. And
Yep.
we're reprogramming not only the moment, right, but some of the default program that we can fit in. Yeah. Both of these are necessary for that child to truly unify. Otherwise, they're going to go back. Right? So a key indicator of a child going back is, say, you do a jump and the person is feeling exhausted the next day and tired and maybe very similar emotions to the fragment. You know that you didn't get it done. Right? And you just hop in and say, hey, let's hop in. Let's see, let's check in on that moment. Here are the ethics, right, of inserting oneself in time, right? Now, there's a group called Dom and Her in France that I followed for a long time, and they do tons of research on time travel and travel through the collective time. Like they're trying to resurface the piece of time that fell with Atlantis. Right, so that is their research work. And they clearly define ethics of traveling within our own timeline. Right, so within that, you don't go with this person unless there's no other choice. Right?
That's right. Yeah.
They do it, they go in their timeline on their own. Right? We try to stay invisible to other beings within the circumstance as much as possible. Now, I do allow for no violence, no meanness, but I do allow for interaction with the abuser because I am pretty certain that without some sort of interjection, they're going to do it the next lifetime again. So that's the only person. If the victim is solid enough to do it, where we can turn and be very clear with the abuser without getting violent. Yeah.
It's the adult self of the client that tells the abuser,
Yeah. Look at him and say, look at this. Look what you did. This has affected my whole life. How dare you take your 5 minutes of pleasure and infect my entire life?
mm-hmm.
You will pay for that. Between you and the maker. That is a soul violation. I would change that. And then we get out. Right? So that's giving them a very clear, direction.
Yeah. And, I have a feeling or a belief or what's coming to me is that reprimand that correction actually corrects them in the present moment.
That's what I'm hoping. That's
Well,
what I hope. And I'm
feel
hoping that they're not going to come back in another lifetime and again be a perpetrator. Right? So, but we have to be in control of it. I've had victims go completely bonkers on their perpetrators, which is not cool. Right? And, we can't interact with that. And it didn't bring any healing to anyone.
Yeah.
Right? So,
you just be firm and speak your piece and you're out
get
of
out.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because our our objective is to get them out of the house as soon as possible.
Yeah.
We want to get them out of the line of vision into,
A safe place.
yeah, where they can't be seen.
Yeah.
Right? So be that a grove of trees or whatever, you know, someplace where now that's twofold. We want them to feel safe and we want time to be safe. And we want to be in the vortex, the unity vortex, only what you want to be in the unity vortex. Right? So I like that to be done in a place of isolation.
Yeah.
All right. So number one, we never bring foreign objects with us through time.
No.
Right? You know, like I've had clients want to bring the child a puppy. I'm like, no, like that's not the point. Right? Where the child isn't going to stay there. Who's going to take care of the puppy? Right? The child's coming home with you. You can go buy a puppy. See where I'm going with that?
Oh, yeah.
We don't want to get in there and, you know, be watching the time to such a degree that we don't get our work done in there. And, right, we don't want to have conversation that's not pertinent to the jump while we're in there.
Yeah.
Right? So if the person starts wanting to connect dots while they're, or process while we're in this moment of time, right? We're going to,
That's not appropriate.
yeah, we're going to advise them, hey, we're going to do this on the backside, but let's wind this up. You know, we are in time right now. You know, we can, like in the reframing. Now, you're not going to want to go in, you know, on the heels of mom, you know, beating the shit out of her child and say, you know, mommy loves you. She's doing the best she can. You know, no. We want to go in and say, you know, mom is dealing with this, that, or the other. It's not an excuse for her behavior. Was not cool what she did to you, right? And, you know what I'm saying? But we're not coming in with did she best she can and all those things that,
We're not making excuses for her.
yes, no, right? We're talking straight up truth. And if we take it too far from the spectrum of where they are, they're just gonna like toss it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, the risk is that you will have to abandon the mission if you know, if you don't get it done right.
Right? So you want to just stay, and that makes them be really tired. Right?
Yeah.
They're going to be really tired if you have to abandon. Right? So you just want to stay in the kindergarten words. You want to talk very clearly. Right? And if the adult's getting all heady, be like, you know, this child's 7. She doesn't know what you're saying. So you need to be talking to the child, not yourself right now. Right?
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes it's just that pushback, right? So again, we want, like, if that child is up here at a 10, right? We want her calmed to a 2, right? Because you know, a child, like if they start getting calmed down, they're going to want to go play. And that's a sign. Can we get her to go play? Right? What would she like to do? You know, so getting them both up into an activity that is different than the trauma is important before you bring them home, right? Because they're interacting in a play state and in a place of curiosity versus fear, right?
Yeah.
You know, if the child needs to scream and cry and jump up and down and, you know, let their voice ring out, then we allow that. right? Because they've been holding this tamped down for a really long time.
Yeah.
So if they need to do that, we allow that, right? And again, like with the adult, we're always trying to keep them skirted out of the goo of the emotion, right? We're constantly reframing and balanced, keep them standing up and being the superhero.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I always like. You're going in, you're going to be the superhero, right? We're going to use your skills and your levels of mastery, and we're going to rescue that child right now. That's different than going in and being a heap of good. Yeah. Now, it is important to keep them talking. Some people will like just go and not speak, right? I'm just always like, give me some words. I need some words. What's happening, right? What are you experiencing right now? Blah, 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 right? So as we're bringing this adult into this state of balance and clarity, right? We're bringing the child into a state of balance and clarity. At this point, the Scotch tape is all off. The rose-colored glasses have been laid down, right? Or the static glasses, right? And we're working firstly to unify the story.
Yeah.
Right? So we want them both to be telling the same story and believing the same truth, right? That is establishing trust within the two. Now, the trust, right? Is the child going to allow the adult to touch them, right? Or, often the adult can be real mad at the child and won't interact with them, right? So whichever way, we want touch to be happening, right? We want the child's emotional state to be calming. We want her in her body. So if you're there and, the adult is saying, she's lifeless, like she's not speaking, like she feels frozen or she feels stuck, right? She's not in her body. So we're going to put the child's astral body back in.
How are we going to do that?
We just do it. I always say, tell the adult to tap her on the top of the head 3 times and tell her to come home. Come home. Come on in. Come on in. And we just go down the body with taps. Right?
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And we definitely want her to leave her house. Right? So we've got the child off someplace safe, right? And to solidify this trust, if necessary, right? If there's still any sort of trepidation, right? Pull the child's hand in on the adult heart, the adult on the child's heart, until we can feel the 2 hearts sink into one synonymous.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, this is brand new learning for me. Yeah.
One synonymous beat, right? And that usually seals it. So, the skill of mind melding. Mind melding is you being able to develop the skill to see the pictures inside the head of your client.
Yeah.
Right? So that's not seeing your pictures, that's seeing their pictures. That's being able to look through their eyes.
Yeah.
Right? Which can be a very powerful skill in this space. Right? And it can negate a lot of diffusion and back and forth. Right? Because they're going to lie to you. Right? They lie. And they're lying because they believe it. Or a fragment believes it. Right? But truth is found in the midst of all of that. Real truth. Right? So, because they're lying to themselves. Right? I've got one client right now that getting her to stay in truth is huge. Even though I have details of everything that she's saying, right? And I can see it and know that her perspective is off. And know that she's establishing facts where there are none. Right? So it proves to be a very powerful skill. Right? Like that's truly that detective space. Can I think like this person?
Yeah.
Can I tap in and get my mind to operate like them? Right? Now, mirroring, yeah, I mean, it is a very powerful skill to develop. Now, the mirroring for myself is mostly my body, right? So that means if I'm in, now this is my way of interpreting information, right? But if I'm sitting across from someone and my body is feeling very clean and I don't have any aches or pains or anything, right? I'm satiated and I'm comfortable. And suddenly, right, my leg is hurting, right? And maybe it's my left leg, right? Firstly, I'm going to ask, like, you know, do both of your legs feel the same? Oh, well, my left leg feels kind of heavy or it kind of hurts. I'll be like, yeah. Like, does it feel like you can move it? No, it feels like it's solid. I'm like, okay, right? So left side taking movement in the, as a female, is a struggle for her right now. Right? See what I'm saying? So tapping into those things from every perspective, right? Because most people, right, are gonna have their attention on their body.
It's going to take a lot of practice to differentiate between mirroring and mind melding. And
they're very different because the mind melding happens here and the mirroring happens here. Right? And the mind melding happens here. That usually happens with my eyes. Right? So if I'm sitting here and looking at you like this, you've got your eyes closed, I can start tapping into the pictures. Now, like I said, before we unify somebody, right, we've got this trust established. The shift in the child's energy, right, it has moved from, you know, suffering to play, right? We want to give them some space to do that for a minute so they're gelling with a different kind of energy. And then we invite them, right? Say, hey, would you like to come home with me? Right? You can come home with me and you can stay with me forever. I'll keep you safe, right? You'll
I'll feed
never go
you.
hungry. Huh?
Yeah. I'll feed you. I'm going to take care of you.
And all you have to do is rest and play. That's all. Just rest and play. Yeah. And so if she takes her hand and agrees, right, then we move into the unification.